My name is Harv Eker, and I'm the author of the New York Times #1 bestseller, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Why I teach wealth and financial freedom. You know, my parents came from Europe. They had no money whatsoever. When I grew up, all my friends wanted to be doctors and lawyers and firemen and baseball players, and I just wanted to be a millionaire. I didn't even know why, but, it was ingrained in me. And so I left college actually at the end of first year because it wasn't going fast enough and I wasn't rich enough yet. After that, I proceeded to struggle big time. I thought I would get rich literally in a couple of years because I don't know why. I had 14 different jobs and 12 different businesses in only 10 years. I tried everything and nothing worked for me. It worked for my friends, it worked for my associates, it didn't work for me. And I was doing all of this, everything. I was taking all the seminars, reading all the books, and still I was broke. There were many, many nights, far more nights than I care to remember, that I literally had to choose between putting $5 of gas in my car and eating dinner that night. And a lot of times I had to choose the car. Things were not working for me whatsoever. I had to move back home and I lived in my parents' basement. And all I can tell you, it was embarrassing. I had very low self-esteem because of that at the time. I was a completely different person than when I started, when I was really gung-ho and I thought I could make it. It just wasn't working for me. As the universe put things together, I was at my parents' house. I met a friend of my father's who was a very, very wealthy man, and he stopped me in the hallway and he said, Harv, your father tells me that you're a bum. So I wasn't very happy about that. But he said, can I give you any advice? I go, well, sure, whatever. And he said, listen, if you're not doing as well as you'd like to be doing, all that means is there's something you don't know. And being a brash young man at the time, I thought I knew what? Everything, but I guess I didn't. And he says, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to be rich. I want to make a lot of money. And he says, well, that's not the world's best goal, but how do you want to do it? And I said, I want to do it in business because, I'm not going to be a doctor or a lawyer, and I'm unemployable, unfortunately or fortunately. I can't deal with jobs really well, so I've got to do it in business. He says, well, if you're going to do it in business, one thing you need to know is that most rich business people think and do the same things. And most people who are successful in anything think and do it the same way pretty well. And I said, that makes sense. I wasn't making any money anyways. And I spent the next 6 months studying rich business people. And I learned some very, very critical principles around that. And one of the things that happened was that I still had no money whatsoever. And I remember before getting further involved into any new ventures, I was so scared to fail again. I remember sitting in the back of my parents' house on a lawn chair, and I was looking up to the heavens, and for some reason I just began to cry. I don't cry a lot, but tears were just rolling down my face, and I was just so frustrated, and I was so scared, like, what if I fail again? I don't know if any of you can relate to that, but when you start something, you're so excited, and then when it doesn't work, it's like, oh, not again, and pretty soon it just takes a toll on you, doesn't it? And so that's what happened for me. I looked up to the heavens and I was crying, and I said, universe or God or whatever is up there, I promise you that if somehow I make it, I will help other people do the same way that I did. I just can't handle another failure. And so I used the principles that I learned, and I opened one of the first retail fitness stores in the world. And I started that with $2,000 that I borrowed on my Visa card because, again, I had no money. And literally a year and a half later, I was a millionaire. And I learned several critical lessons, key lessons that I didn't know before. I thought I knew, but I didn't know. Because everything I did before didn't work, and everything I did then and now seems to work really, really well. And so that's why I teach what I teach, because I made a promise to the big guy and I said, listen, if I make it, I promise I'll help other people do the same. A lot of people want to do well financially, have balance in their lives. A lot of people are spiritually bent, which I think is a very good thing. We tend to think that it's one or the other. It's like, oh, if I'm, spiritual and my leanings are towards that, then money is not an important thing. Well, how's that working? That doesn't seem to work out really well in the real world either, does it? Or we go for money and then spirituality just seems to fall away, and so does everything else. That doesn't work either. So the big secret is, how do you put this all together? And thank goodness, thank the universe that I was able to find an answer. And I'd love for you to to find out the secrets that I found out and be able to help you with that. And it really, really is a life changer. Here's what happened. For the first of those 10 years that I was struggling, for the first 9.5 years of that, I was trying to work for money and I was broke. Then finally I made a decision. That's it. I'm broke anyways. I've got nothing to do. I got nowhere more down to go. So I said, I'm just going to do what I enjoy doing. And that's why I was really heavy duty into fitness myself. I was a big runner. I was even helping people on the side. And literally, I just said, I'm just going to get in the fitness industry because I enjoy it. And sure enough, I became a millionaire using these principles.